Welcome to the Investing Podcast presented by Tusk Media. The final bell has rung and the market is now closed. So let's move on to an audio and video recap with the Investing Happy Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Investing Podcast presented by Tusk Media. It is afternoon time, Investing Happy Hour. It's Wednesday, July 6, 2016. We're glad you're here. Second update of the day. We missed the morning. We were sleeping in. Hey, we're still drinking coffee. Shout out to Starbucks. Some of our clients do own Starbucks stock. We are trying to drive that up one coffee at a time. This is an interesting concoction right here. It's a venti cold brew and ice. That's what makes it cold. And a single shot of hot espresso makes it not quite as cold, but makes it more caffeinated. So kind of a weird concoction. I think I'd like it a little bit colder, but glad to have the caffeine. So thanks to Starbucks for hooking that up. We appreciate you taking our money for this coffee. Glad that you're still in business, especially for shareholders of Starbucks. So that's great news. Let's jump in. Let's talk about the markets a little bit. Markets were up. That's a little bit surprising if you looked at markets early this morning or even on a futures basis. Dow closed up 44 basis points, so a little bit less than half of 1%. S&P was up a little more than 0.5%. It was up 54 basis points, so good day there. NASDAQ was up 75 basis points. Global Dow was still down about 61 basis points. Gold eked out a gain of 55 basis points. Oil up 1.6%. So solid day for the market, and it is what we call a check market. And this is a really, really technical term. You might, if you're listening to this, you might want to download the video podcast or check out the archive on YouTube so that you can really get this explained. But a check market is something really sophisticated that you learn about, usually like level 3 of the CFA exam. But picture a graph, and nobody likes graphs. But if you've got these two axes, and your x-axis is your time, and your y-axis, which is the one that goes up and down, is your return. A check market, again, it's a really, really technical term, is one in which the market falls off and then rallies, and it looks like a check mark. So that's what a check market is. Anytime you hear us talk about a check market, that's what we're talking about. And if you wanted to look at today, this low point is roughly 10:30 a.m., right about the time we all assembled for a portfolio management meeting. We put our minds together and we said, you know what, we can fix this. And sure enough, rallied up nicely. Market was down, closed up, check market. All there is to it. So good news for the market there. Healthcare was the leading sector today. It was up quite a bit, kind of across the board. Netflix, one individual name that got hit pretty hard, down about 3.5% on the day. A number of downgrades. There's just a lot of concerns about this company. It's a growth-oriented company, and there's a lot of concerns about how it's going to continue to grow, both domestically and internationally. I think some of the unplugging of television sets has happened, and we're starting to see that trend, and we'll continue to monitor that trend. But the flood to Netflix has slowed a little bit, or at least slowed a little bit relative to expectations. Speaking of expectations, the Veep stakes for Donald Trump continues. He cannot find a vice president by all accounts. Apparently this has been some type of death wish, politically speaking, if you want to accept that nomination as Trump's VP. Nobody wants it. It's political suicide, which I guess means nobody thinks this guy's going to win, but I feel like a year ago nobody thought this guy would still be here. So nobody wants to be VP. I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring here, though. I think I'm qualified. I'm currently vice president of Narwhal Capital Management, so I'm used to knowing what it's like to be just a heartbeat away from being president. You know, if something happens to Matt, I'm president. So I think I'm qualified in that regard. Every bit as qualified for VP as Trump probably is for the actual presidency. So I'm throwing my hat into the ring there. We'll see what happens. In terms of political suicide, I'm okay with that. I don't want to be a career politician. I'm a man of the people. Feel like I'm being called to serve in this capacity at this time, and I want to do my service for this great nation and get out. I don't want to just take money from big corporations and all that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those types. I don't need a super PAC. I just want to be vice president. And if I can't be vice president, you know what? I'm fine. I'll stay out of politics. So open invitation there, Trump. Get at me. You can follow me on Twitter, Donald, at Tusk Media LLC. Everybody else, hit subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and we'll talk to you guys in the morning. Have a great night.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are our professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.